So I just shot a buck. He got up and I'm gonna try and cut him off.
Aren't gonna believe the story I have for you. Typically I make it difficult on us. We do the hardest possible recoveries, shoot them in the whatever, and we're going through the swamp for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It started that way.
All right, well, before you get into this, let's get on your freaking mic.
You can't track a deer with a full bladder.
No.
With my fly down.
But yeah, so if I start from the beginning, the November 4th is the day 2 years ago where we doubled.
It's also a couple years before that, you and I shot a really nice buck together.
Yeah.
Like November 4th is our day.
We've had really good
I got in the truck this morning. I threw this change of clothes in my truck because I knew somebody was gonna kill today. And I was like, I literally filmed something and said, November 4th is the day. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but today's the day Nate and I go hunting together. It's November 4th, and Nate and I have a history of killing deer together on November 4th. In fact, we killed a deer together a couple years ago on November 4th, and then literally a year ago, 2 years ago, I think, we doubled up on November 4th on the same property. So it's November 4th, and he's got an arrow in one, and we're gonna go see if we can find this thing.
And so deer cast, the weather, everything says not great hunting because it's 70 degrees today. I got a hot front coming in. Pouring rain. So I get up and I put together like an all-day pack kind of thing with like a raincoat, rain pants.
Yeah.
And going to a spot like you and I hung this set. Do you remember that?
I don't know where you're at.
Ladder stand. We hung a ladder stand when the loggers were in there. We were filming the logging project.
Yeah.
And
Down in
we
the cut?
hung this stand because we had to pull it out because they cut that tree out. And then that's the first time I've been in there to hunt today. But last night, I haven't been getting any photos on the cell camera in there. I got 42 last night.
Well, this morning you got up and you were like, look, they got this camera that's,
It's hot.
like, there could be a hot doe in there. For some reason, there's a bunch of deer down in there right now. I'm just gonna go where the action is.
So I get in there, it wasn't hot at all. I had a 4-point come through. It was raining all morning. I had my rain jacket on. I think I called both of you. We were working a little bit. And I was like, okay, at 10:30, I'm gonna get out of here no matter what. And there was this rub that I had been keeping an eye on because it was bright white. It looked like it was
Did you
fresh.
know, like, was it historical, or you got in there today and you saw it?
No, it's in the middle of the cut, which is completely dry right now, which is not normal.
But you
Usually
first
it's
saw
underwater.
it this morning and you were like, oh, there's a rub.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a rub. And I'm like, oh yeah. So all of a sudden, I'm like standing, like facing kind of that direction. And I was fiddling on my phone. Buck just raking the tree, just absolutely raking.
So you couldn't, because I'm sure everything's wet and
Yeah,
quiet, like you couldn't hear
couldn't
him.
hear him. All of a sudden, I just saw white tines, and he was raking
the
his tree, shaking it around, putting down some sign. And so on his way back out, I was like, brat, brat, brat. He didn't hear me all 3 times, and then I just like, and he went like that. And then I had my grunt tube right here close to my face, so I didn't have to make this. And I hit that brat, and he just starts coming in, like just marching in, like that,
To your tree.
directly to me. And I kind of lost sight of him because the trunk of the tree there's split.
Were you saddle hunting, or you're
I
in
was
a
on
ladder
stand.
stand? For an inch?
I don't want you to finish the story while we're out there.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of do too. Let's go see what happened.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah. So this is the crime scene.
So this is come on over here once. So there's a cell camera that lit up last night, and that's why I decided to come in here. We have a south wind, and this stand sets up really well for it. So right here, I'm in this stand. This buck comes down and lays a bunch of sign, kind of right over in this, right by this turned over tree, all that dirt up in the air. Like right behind it, there's a couple of rubs. He starts heading back up the ridge on the other side, and I snort wheeze at him, grunt him in. He comes into right here, and I'm in this tree.
It's not even 20 yards.
I'm in that tree. You see how it forks on the left side?
Yeah.
I was hoping that he'd come to this side so I can shoot him on the left. He ends up going back, and I shoot him between the trunk. He went over about 100 yards, right over here by that white tree. Stands there for about 15 minutes. I can see blood on his legs, but he's still like alert. His tail wasn't flickering. He didn't give me the signs of like, oh, he's gonna die really soon. So I end up standing here for a long time, making some phone calls to you guys. All of a sudden, I see this deer coming out, kind of like doing one of those numbers.
Yeah.
And like, I could tell like I messed up his shoulder. He starts going up this ridge, okay? So I got a trail. I start going all the way around. I took about a 1/4 mile loop up, and I get within 15 yards, okay? It's literally at the base, like I'm glassing up here. The tree stand that I was in the other night, I could see the sticks.
So that's where he was headed towards?
I could see the sticks, so I'm like, oh, if I can just get to that tree, I know where he is. So I get all the way to that tree, and I'm like, I also, yeah, I can also, Mag Pro's running, all of a sudden I can hear him. I thought he'd smelled me. He's coming up the ridge, making a bunch of noise. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, he comes into 8 yards. But like, we just had the woods log, so you can see this here. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to shoot through something like this. So I had a clearing, and it wasn't even great, but it was like, the lane goes right up to it, and I'm like waiting for this spot. All of a sudden, the wind picks up, and he just takes off the other way, like takes off. And I'm like, so I start running after the deer. I thought he'd smelled me. I run to the top of the ridge. He gets to the top of the ridge. I can smell the deer. Like I can smell the running buck smell. Because now he's in front of me, and I'm getting the wind.
Yep.
So I get behind him. So now my wind's safe. He gets between 8 yards of me, and I'm waiting for him to get this clearing. But instead of the clearing, he just runs into the wind.
This way.
Runs up on the top of the ridge and starts running this way.
Okay.
And I'm like, holy crap. So I start running. And there was one point where like he kind of turns back and looks, because I was making noise, I was running. 37 yards. He's like looking at me, and I'm like down like this. So he's looking right at me, and I go up, and I get half drawn, and he starts running again. So I come back down. I'm running after him. I literally chase this deer all the way down the hill. I'm running after him, and he's stumbling. I literally run to this close, and he's standing looking at me. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Drop down, buddy. Drop down. You're gonna go to good use. I'm gonna eat you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're gonna go to good use. My family's gonna eat you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Wow. Oh my goodness. What just happened? I'm just gonna drive this over there so we can throw them in.
Holy cow.
Sweet deer. It's a sweet deer.
Holy cow.
Oh man.
Now I know why you needed a minute and you were like, hey, just let me call you back in a while.
I thought it was just Nate being Nate.
I mean, it's hard for me to speak right now. I don't know why. I shot this thing at point blank and watched him die. I took his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a sweet deer. It's November 4th. This is my second deer on November 4th. Michigan buck. Second year on this property. We logged it heavily this year. I wasn't expecting a bunch of big things out of it just because we've done so much construction out here. We've had heavy equipment. We've cleared so much land, but November 4th trumped all that. Pretty sweet buck.
Yeah, what's going through your head right now, mate?
I don't know.
You really persevered.
You did.
Like you weren't going to be beat on this one.
It seems like a lot of times you hear about like, you know, made a bad shot. What would I have done in hindsight?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking like I was gonna give it everything that I had to actually put a tag on this deer. And after I saw him get up and run a little bit, I'm like, I owe it to this deer to try and like kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But I successfully got within 8 yards of him, and at that point I was very confident. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna shoot him in this gap. And then he just took off the opposite way, which completely caught me off guard, and I just started running after him.
Maybe the wind swirled or something.
I just completely started running after him, and I caught up to him, and he turned and reared, and I thought we were gonna fight. Honestly, I thought we were gonna fight.
You're going to wrestle him to the ground.
Right here, I thought we were gonna spar. And I was literally like, I almost put my bow in front of me because I was getting ready, but then he kind of let me draw, and I'll never forget that. I'll never ever forget like watching, like I physically watched his eyes as he passed.
Yeah.
The only other time I had to do that was when I was like a really young kid with this doe that I shot, but it wasn't with a bow, that was a gun, and it was like done.
Yeah.
This was a much more graphic deal.
Man, he was rubbing. This came off that tree this morning.
A split G2 and a crab claw.
Front.
People are really not going to understand this statement when they.
We wrote a song.
I guess we said it a million times, didn't we?
Yeah.
We wrote a song called Creek Bottom Deluxe. More of a parody. Not really a song because neither one of us is very musical. But one of the lines in the song is a split G2 and a crab claw front.
Creek Bottom Deluxe, Creek Bottom Deluxe. A split G2 and a crab claw front. A double drop tine. That thing makes a big ol' rub.
Yeah.
What are you saying? You guys aren't musical. You want to take any credit in that song, or just leave it all to Nate?
No. I think that's all Nate, actually.
Okay, let's go. I'm gonna skin this deer in a
I gotta get in there with you.
hot Texas minute. We're gonna have to really plunge through this Creek Bottom Deluxe here. Hold on tight with your pincers there. November 4th, people, the Painted Arrow team is on the board. This is one of the most unique hunts that I've probably ever had. I've never shot a deer at 1 yard while it was looking into my very own eyes, but I'm very, very excited to have this deer. We're gonna get it processed and have some burger. So hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.